Good evening, dear friends. It's an honor and a privilege to be here once again hosting our therapeutic meeting of Light in the Shire Spiritist group. For those I haven't met yet, my name is Fran Diogo and I am connecting live from the Sutherland Multipurpose Center. And we're ready to get started. So we will start with a very quick harmonization. So for those listening in, I'd like to invite everyone to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and as we breathe in, feel peace, love, and serenity entering your bodies. Let's feel this love and connection with our individual mentors, with the mentors that are supporting the work done here at Light in the Shire Spiritist Group. And let's acknowledge and honor the light workers supporting the Darwal people of the Sutherland Shire and blessing this land where we are connecting from today. We ask for this peace and protection to be with us, enabling the meeting tonight to be productive, to be of a healing quality, to support us in our well-being and how to live happier lives today. May this peace and this love be with us. Thank you so much for those joining us tonight. So our talk tonight will be about living well in the present to shape a better future. And I wanted to start it with a quote that's very popular, and it goes like this. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. This is a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, and it does bring this idea, I guess, for us to reflect on tonight about what is it that we can do with the time and resources that are given to us. So living in the present fully means to let go of the past, and to make the most of today, of what the day that we're living right now, our reality is. And to avoid as well a lot of anticipation and creations or fear of negative outcomes tomorrow. So sometimes we might see ourselves either stuck in the past, reliving, or because our memories are so tricky, we might glorify things that we lived in the past, and we might forget how they were truly like. We might have one or two happy memories of a time that could have been overall actually hard for us in many ways, because that's what being human is all about, is trying to optimize, I guess, the happy encoding. So some people feel what they call nostalgia, which is to be stuck in the past of, oh, those days were amazing. And, I wish we could live today like we lived that day. And, things were better back in my time. And, when we're too focused on the past, we're actually missing out on amazing opportunities today. So that was one of the things that I wanted to bring for us to reflect today. And we fully agree that today, the present should really be considered a present, because it is a gift and it's the only thing that we have control of. It's of today. So we can choose to let the past have a huge impact on our lives today, or we can choose to move on. And the best way to process, assimilate, and then move on from experiences that for some reason were not as positive in our lives is to let it go. And we live in a modern society these days, like the contemporary times that we're living in, where it seems to be harder and harder for us to be present, as in fully present, because of the advancements of technology. People overall, we're always watching our phones. And sometimes we can be physically present in one place and not necessarily have our mind, our heart, our emotions present, feeling taking in everything that that environment and the people around us at that moment has to offer. And we might be missing out on opportunities to really live those experiences when we live like that. So, one of the things that we wanted to reflect on today is that it's about being really present, eliminating distractions. And, that comes with the territory of really mastering time management and also being fully aware of our behaviors, right? Because we might be doing that, be present with someone in a room, someone, a friend that we're visiting, and we're constantly checking our phones, thinking about something else. So it is something that requires a little bit of that self monitoring from our end. And the main reflection we're going to have tonight about this topic is how to really make the most of today, being present and continue to take action so that our future will be glorious and everything that we want it to be. So, in Spiritism, one of the things that might help us understand why, we might be a certain way, or why in some situations we let our emotions take over. Our most intrinsic characteristics come from a place of us being eternal spirits that have lived many lives. We have this identity that we know today, but we also have the influence, I guess, and the impressions of our previous lives constantly present. And we carry out this spiritual essence, and our unconscious is always present as well. Everything that we are, all the experiences that we had allowed us to be who we are today. And we carry that in our unconscious minds. Our mind is the main source of creation of our realities. And we have impressions, or as Emmanuel says in his book, Thought and Life, we have the reflections, the reflexes of what we created in the past. We are the heirs of our past choices. And in our mind, through our acts and our conscious behavior, we also have that unconscious side of who we are that carries all these lived experiences in many different lives throughout our existence today. So, learning to pay attention to these unconscious messages might help us understand as well the whys of some of the things that we might not have necessarily an answer for or an explanation about right now. But the unconscious contents may partially be approached as well when we're sleeping, when we're dreaming, so in dreams, in prayers, or when we are meditating, when we are in trance, in a meditative trance. So this phenomena can actually help us understand a little bit about this spiritual essence of ours. And we shouldn't really be too concerned about what was, like we were saying before. The present is really a present. But in theory, we can understand how these spiritual creations that we had, who we were, I guess, in previous lives, and what we carry with us, how that is influencing our mind, our endocrine systems, the neuroendocrine and immune systems, which are linked to our nervous systems. They are all connected with that spiritual quality. We create that. And we can actually have impressions that come to us through our spiritual bodies that will influence what we live in our physical bodies. So it is very important that we look for those imbalances that we might feel, and because they might be explained through a lot of that, those impressions that we have from our unconscious, right? So One thing that we can do, oh yeah, so sorry. So an imbalancing one of those systems, clearly present in several mental disorders that we have very commonly experienced these days, could be anxiety or fear, even depression. So some people look a lot at the genetic side of things. So you have some hereditary factors that we carry in families, and yes, that's true. And the genes are an expression of the soul as well. But anxiety is so common these days because we are sometimes too worried about the future, and some of those fears and experiences we might have had in the past might actually be shaping that as well. Some of those elements around how we're seeing the future, the immediate future, and the things that we're worried about. So this intense relationship between our body and our mind is very highlighted by Joanna de Angelis, the spiritual author. And in the book Psychology of Gratitude, she mentions a few things that I thought we could touch on today as well, because that's definitely a way. There's definitely some ways and some tips for us to live healthier and happier today, and to be sure that we're sowing the seeds for a good harvest tomorrow. And she mentions that this influence of the spirit over the body generates either a more harmonious or unhealthy functioning. And we can actually try to balance some of those negative effects that we identify in our bodies through that self-knowledge, self-awareness practice. So ethical behavior and introspection are generators of healthy strength of the spirit over the body. So that's what Joanna de Angelis said, and what we should really be looking at as well. So improving our morality by really having moments of introspection, of investigation around what we're truly feeling, what we're truly thinking, our behavior can help. And St. Augustine has shared some techniques through the Spirit's book when Kardec asked the question, how can one really know thyself? And it's actually in the Gospel according to Spiritism as well, in the chapter Be Perfect. So he used this amazing tool for self-awareness and self-improvement, which was he would keep a journal, and every night he would reflect upon the day that he had, and he'll be thinking about what things went well, what he's done well, what things did not go exactly as he would like, things that he was aspiring to be, and was he measuring up to those things or not? And he would then reflect about what he could be doing better the next day. So just doing this and setting goals is already a way to keep those long-term plans, I guess, that we sometimes have about what we want to achieve, what we want to do, and a way to keep track with how we are truly feeling, being very connected with the present. So that's one of the tools that we can do. And also, we know a lot about all the stresses that we accumulate through our busy lives. And it's a chance to decompartmentalize, to really face things that we might be suppressing, including emotions and thoughts and, ill-being, which is all connected, like we saw, with what we're feeling, how we're living. So learning about the triggers for some of those anxieties, even though we can't explain what might be causing them, but understanding our worries and what's triggering some of our behaviors that are bringing us down is an amazing way to learn more about who we truly are right now and how we can seek help for those specific areas, I guess, that we want to really feel helped on. And of course, Spiritism really highlights that ethical behavior is a way to live well, because the more that we try to evolve spiritually, as in learning about virtues, studying our own imperfections, studying how there's mechanisms in life that can be used to put our potential into practice, so we can really be acting and active agents of change in our lives and in that of people around us. So this search for virtue is another very important aspect of living well, and also a very important aspect of our spiritual future. Because what we learn in spiritism is this is just a temporary reality, right? This life, for those who are reflecting on this today, and there are incarnates. This incarnate life, like what we might be living, what, 70, 80 years, and then it's over. So what's the point in losing sleep and stressing out about material things if we're only focused on the material and we're not focusing on things that enrich our spiritual lives? We might be missing out on the opportunities that are given to us today. So it's really important to have this real desire for growth and development, and not just to repress what we're feeling, because the more we understand what we are experiencing and what we want to change to, the more we will actually put that emotion, that drive, that energy that we have of co-creation towards creating the goals that we so aspire. So again, Joanna de Angelis says that the real and ultimate healing could come about by the intellectual and moral improvement of the spirit during several incarnations. So we know some of the healings of some of the healing that we require might take a few lifetimes to take place, but there's no place like the present to start. And it's having that will, that desire for change that will really make a difference. When we turn that page of conformism or victim blaming, putting ourselves in that victim situation, and taking charge of our lives through our courage and through our desire to be better. And even positive mental health can be a state, having a full state of peace, of harmony, will be something that I think we all aspire, because we'll be feeling extremely happy when we are really attuned to understanding ethical values, who we are, and how we can direct our emotions and our potential to support order, progress, and the well-being of an entire society, not just ourselves. We will be working for that greater good, and we'll have support for sure, spiritual support all through. So to become total, to become the unique being that we know we have in potential, we need to try to disengage in this consciousness level of constrictions, and we should try to dominate this unconsciousness that we all have. And by bringing the unconscious matter into our present moment, into our consciousness, we can actually bring that change that we need. And it might be slow, our progress, but we will get there. We need to factor in time, though, to plan for our spiritual growth, establishing goals around what we want, and looking at what we can control and what is beyond our control. And it's important to learn to let go and trust divine providence to take care of the things that are beyond our control as well. That would alleviate a lot of the anxiety that people experience these days, because first, a lot of anxiety and depression is coming from people not having purpose or a meaning in their lives. Things become quite meaningful, or people can easily experience hopelessness if we don't think that we serve a purpose here, if we don't think that there is a better future for all of us. So it's important to understand those mechanisms, and that there's something a lot bigger than us at play here. And I think it's steering away from these mechanisms of immediate reward that we are creating through the use of social media, through easy access to a lot of information and things that might be slowing down our progress. Because in a way, we might be completely distracted by those trivial things and we forget what matters. So we need to learn to be sure and confident in what we're sowing today, in the seeds that we're really planting. And by having a practice of gratitude, we can actually do that by learning to look around us and see what's good and what's working and what we should be grateful for versus looking around us and trying to identify what's not correct and what needs to be improved constantly. So, gratitude is an emotion similar to appreciation, and even positive psychology research has found that there's neurological reasons why so many people can benefit from this general practice of expressing thanks for our lives, even in times of challenge or change. So, from a scientific perspective, gratitude is not just an action, it is also a positive emotion that serves a biological purpose. So, when we try to really attune to looking at our lives and thinking about what we can be grateful for, that feeling thankful is way deeper than the appreciation for someone or something. And it produces a very long lasting positivity in our brains and in our bodies. So that's when we produce the happy hormones, and we produce a state of harmony in our bodies. So in chapter 6 of the book Psychology of Gratitude, Joanna also discusses gratitude as a means to acquire peace, because we need to learn to appreciate all we have been, all we have, all that people represent to us. And just by developing this art of giving thanks, of noting and expressing to people how grateful we are for their participation in our lives as well, we will be experiencing that emotion and also producing that emotion in others. So when we have an existence without the presence of any psychological meaning, a purpose, an understanding of what life is, and somewhat a spiritual awareness, we can feel empty and we can feel very demotivated. And the secret to really try to enhance that inner enlightenment in our lives is to, I guess, plan what our goals are, envision them, and work on those goals today. So without action, without the planning, the desire, like I said, deep desire to improve spiritually, physically, emotionally, we will not get there. So this lack of connection with our inner essence and the divine is what can cause this relentless, this suspicion, this self-contempt, this resentment, this anxiety that brings this lack of existential meaning. So we should be working on the opposite. So some of the objectives that we can set for us, so our lives will have a much better future, can involve looking at developing that resilience around us through gratitude. So even when things are hot, we should be looking at what are the positives around us and learning to express our higher selves around what's going on and thinking about that future where we will continue to be learning and we will be together with people that we might not be with right now, and etc. So when we are grateful, we enhance our self-esteem, and we have to start with our thoughts of gratitude first, and then that will eventually become actions of gratitude. So how can we be more grateful? So first, grateful thoughts. So every day, if we already woke up, as Joanna De Angelis says, we have to say, thank you, I'm alive. A lot of people might have died in their sleep. And that's a privilege to be alive. So starting each morning this way is already something that we can do. Even having breakfast. We can thank the universe for having food. There's a lot of people starving in this planet. Just being grateful for little things like that, little privileges that we might take for granted. So we can think about people that are part of our life, and we can be thankful for having them in our life because we learn with them and we have an opportunity to become better because of those relationships that we have. So that's another way to attune to gratitude and to feel that positivity. We can look at comprehending other people's actions and trying to work on our tolerance, our understanding, and the personal humility that we all need to acquire. We can work on real forgiveness as well. Our belief that we should be grateful for the good and the bad things that happens, understanding that every little thing, even what we consider bad, is contributing to our evolution, will help us understand why why something happened. When we discarnate, generally we learn about the reasons behind those things. But this feeling of gratitude makes us want to help and contribute to the well-being of others as well. So in general, the wrap up today is we need to try and work on our self-realization and our inner peace through this self-knowledge practice today. Because the more we do that, the more we practice gratitude, the more that we attune with who we truly are, and we are present, and we try to really express that joy of living in our everyday lives, being grateful for what we have today and working towards those goals that we so aspire to have. That's the only way that we're going to be developing that self-enlightenment, our growth, our spiritual growth. So tomorrow will be a better day, a better future for us. So I hope this talk has brought some, I guess, enlightenment there. And it's a very broad topic, but I think we can really optimize the days that we're living in this contemporary society using technology, using those things that are beneficial to us, but learning how to dose it up so we are not taking for granted spending time in nature, just appreciating, contemplating the natural world around us that's filled with beauty, appreciating people all around us and who they truly are, what they truly mean for us. So this time for reflection every day is essential for us to get there. We can't just live on autopilot. We can't just numb ourselves through, watching series on Netflix or whatever streaming account you have. That encounter with ourselves is truly part of the journey of being in peace with ourselves, in harmony with the world around us, and having a happy future. So I hope we can all reflect on that, and we can try to do that more often. So that was what we had planned for tonight. Thank you so much. Our next meeting will be on the last Tuesday of April, so the 30th of April. And we have already set up an event online, both on our Facebook page and through Eventbrite. So you can feel free to join us then, and we will be happy to have you. So the topic in April will be the law of love and justice and our moral responsibility. So we can keep thinking about these mechanisms of protection around us and what we have to work on to achieve our spiritual growth. So we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you again for joining us tonight, and may a lot of peace stay with you. Stay blessed.